Hello everyone, Niev here, and today I am doing another installment of the Venus in Transit series, and this was started by Pure Red Velvet. I almost forgot her channel name. But yes, so she started this, and it's basically doing a reading for each transition of Venus through the chart. And right now we are in Venus in Pisces. So I wanted to do that one. Now I have the cards pulled out for this to show Venus, Pisces, and the fourth house. Now I am showing the fourth house because that is where Venus is in my chart. In my chart, Venus is in the fourth house. My Venus, however, is in Scorpio. But here right now, Venus is in Pisces. So, what is Pisces to me? So when I think of Pisces, I think of a lot of intense creativity, imaginativeness, very intuitive. It is a water sign, and water signs tend to lean more on the intuitive side of things due to the nature of their signs. And Pisces is probably, I would consider, the most intuitive. There's something very, I don't know, kind of spiritual, but it's more like dreamlike, if that makes sense. It's I would say Pisces has a sort of, it's not a head in the clouds sort of thing like a lot of air signs might be. It's more of just almost a head in dreamland, if that makes sense. Let me see if I can pull out, let's see what the Star Codes Astro Oracle says for Pisces, because we might get a better understanding of what this book considers. Heather Rowan Robbins, that's who wrote this. So symbol for Pisces is two fish, usually swimming in opposite directions, if that tells you something about Pisces. Pisces rules the feet and resonates with wetlands, streams, blah, 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 blah. Let's see. It's a mutable water sign, of course. Let's see. Action. Pisces asks us to swim in the ambient pool of emotion and to be moved to compassion. Yeah, and compassion was I was actually thinking that before I started this video. Pisces to me is one of the most compassionate of the signs. It really considers the feelings and the emotions of others. I would say empathic, but I don't know. Sometimes that word gets used a bit too much. It's a bit overused. But yeah, I would say that Pisces tends to be more on the empathic side of things. Very concerned and worried about the feelings of others and making sure that they don't offend. Yeah, so there's more here, but I just kind of wanted to see if a few keywords jumped out to me and see if that resonates with my understanding of Pisces. Yeah, creation, healthy boundaries. It might be difficult for a Pisces to set healthy boundaries. So that's something to consider while we do this Venus in Pisces. Now, the deck I pulled out, this was a last minute decision because I actually had not pulled out a deck before I started this video. And I was just sitting there thinking, what deck could I use for Pisces? And honestly, my mind just kept going back to the Shadowscapes Tarot. I don't really have a whole lot of Pisces decks or decks that feel Pisces to me. I could have picked this. I guess I could have also chosen the Grimalkin Tarot, the Curious Cats. That one could have worked too, but I don't know. There was something about the Shadowscapes Tarot that just kept calling to me and saying, like, yeah, this is definitely a Pisces type of deck. I mean, it's very dreamy, very wistful, which again, wistful is more of an air sign type of word, but I think. Yeah, it's swimmy. I don't know. Swimmy, flowy. Yeah, I don't know what I'm trying to say here, but yeah, that's what this deck gives me. Yeah, and I would say that, so I don't have any Pisces in my chart, and because of that, I feel like Pisces is one of those signs that I feel the least connected to. And and that makes sense that it's not anywhere in my chart, so that might be why. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot of decks that really feel Pisces to me. Now, the spread that I'm going to use, I'll put it up on the screen, but I did also write it down here, because right now it's currently on my phone. But yeah, so this was a spread by Moon Mama Oracle. It is the same creator, their spreads that I used for Venus in Aquarius. And for Capricorn and Sagittarius, I used a different creator's spreads, but I'm going to try to use Moon Mama Oracles from going forward if they're available. So yeah, so this it's the first position. It's 6 cards. The first position is my energy as I enter this transition. Second card is how will this transition affect romance, since we are talking about Venus here. Then how will my internal energy change? And that makes sense with Pisces. They are very internal. Yeah. How can I work with this energy? What advice do my guides have? And what advice do my ancestors have? So yeah, a bit generic, but I think it works. Pisces, I think if I think of a sign that is what I would consider it's closer to what Pisces is like. I often get it a little confused with Aquarius, and they are right next to each other. First there's Aquarius, then there's Pisces, so maybe there's some of that energy that's still around when we enter Pisces. But Aquarius and Pisces are 2 signs that are pretty similar in my mind, but there's definite differences. And yeah, I also feel like Cancer sort of connects a bit with Pisces. They're both water signs, so that makes sense. But I feel like Cancer is a bit more sensitive. Not so intuitive, not so intuitive as Pisces is, but a bit more sensitive, if that makes sense. Yeah, so those would probably be the 2 signs that most closely relate to Pisces in my mind. So yeah, all right. So before I start, I'm going to light my Venus transit candle. Now that we are more than almost 8 minutes into this. All right. And I am going to do a few deep breaths. All right, let's move that to the side here. I'm going to move these up a little bit. I did not pull out an oracle card. I considered doing that, but yeah, I didn't. Yeah, I'm not going to pull out an oracle card for this one. I'm just going to go with my gut, and my gut said to pick the Shadowscapes Tarot like moments before I started this video, and I didn't even think about an oracle deck, so I'm just not going to do that one for this one. All right, we're going to embrace the Pisces intuition and go straight into just whatever feels right for me right now. There was very little preparation I did for this. Yeah. All right, one more shuffle this like this, and we can start doing. Woo! All right. Getting away from me there. All right. Now, let's do a little bit of overhand. All right. So, now this reading is primarily for me, but I'm sharing it with everyone, so it is a little bit of a for the collective. So if anything about this resonates for you, then excellent. And you can always think about this in relation to where Venus is in your chart. Venus is in the 4th house for me, which generally rules home, family. There is a bit of ancestors with that one, which there's a whole question about a prompt here for ancestors. So yeah, basically where my roots are, and that's where Venus is in my chart. All right, so my energy as I enter this transition. All right, Nine of Swords, some anxiety for sure. Now, I do record my readings in my journal here. I'll find where the last, so this was the Capricorn, Venus in Capricorn. And then, let's see. This was Venus in Aquarius right here. All right, so that was that one. I have not yet decorated this page. I think I will do that off camera and after the video. And I'll decorate it to match the Shadowscapes Tarot. So yeah, so I do record my readings in my journal here. All right, let me move this up a bit. All right, so yeah, I entered this transition with anxiety. And I think that's true. Like lately things have been pretty anxious for me, and I'll bring this up so we can actually look at this. It is very interesting looking at this. It's almost like these crows or ravens or whatever they are following this person. Like they've gone through this vortex or whatever this is, this fae or angel type creature, and it's just like it feels like these beings, this anxiety is following this person. And, you know, honestly, that makes sense for me. Yeah, so it's you know, the energy I'm entering this transition is one of some anxiety. There's, you know, just problems left and right. Yeah, I mean, there's not much more to say. The Nine of Swords is a card of anxiety in general, and that makes sense for me. So, yeah. All right. So, how will this transition affect my romance, my connections with people? And I'm gonna go with this one here. And we've got the Nine of Wands, another 9. Interesting. Nine of Wands. So, it's the Nine of Wands for me, you know, we say it's like the wounded warrior, but it's really that perseverance. And when things are seeming down, we just really need to get up and keep going. And I mean, it's a pretty simple phrasing for a lot of complex things in life. But yeah, and I think things are a fight worth fighting for. You know, sometimes we have to throw in the towel on things and just give up. And sometimes that is the right thing to do. Sometimes we just need to walk away from things. But other times it's, you know, when we have these struggles in communication or connection in general, it really, you know, a lot of times it really is worth the fight. And of course that depends, you know, keeping like things like abuse or whatever, that sort of stuff, you know, as a separate thing here. If all else is healthy, is what I'm trying to say. If in general your connections are healthy, then when there are hiccups, when there are things that pop up and kind of challenge things a little bit, it's worth fighting for, to keep that connection. So yeah, and I think that's what we're seeing here. Yeah. All right. So, and with the whole concept of Pisces and that being very empathic and understanding how other people are feeling, I keep that in mind in this, like coming through with that anxiety. But, you know, this is, you know, what's going on right now is worth fighting for and worth sticking up for. So yeah. All right. So the next one is, how will my eternal energy change? All right. How will my internal energy change? Ooh, the sun. Things are definitely looking brighter. And, you know, that makes sense. I mean, we've been in the Venus in Pisces for a little bit now. Let me check my thing here, because I actually have all the information on when the transits change. And I know I'm not exactly in frame here, sorry. So yeah, this is my Venus in transit paper here, my artwork and stuff, and the dates, whatever. Yeah, so Venus transits in 2024 and enters Pisces on March 11th. I am filming this on March 18th, so it's already been a week into Pisces here for Venus, and it will stay in Pisces until April 5th. So, and this video is actually going up on the 19th, I believe. All right, so yeah, and I feel like just about a week ago, I did have a bit more anxiety, and this makes sense for me as well. And so how will these, I feel like, you know, the sun to me is like the happiest card in the deck. And it's also a card of illumination and things coming to light. And generally it's for the positive, depending on the reading, of course. But so yeah, I do think that this is a very good sign of things shifting for me. And if this makes sense for you as well, then great. So how will my internal energy change? Like, I feel like that there's more information now, and there's more things that make sense to me now, and because of that, it gives a big sense of relief, and it kind of I'm someone that operates much better when I have all the information. When I don't have the information on something, it's subtlety is very difficult for me. When things are subtle, it causes my brain to have a lot more confusion. So I need things to be a lot more blunt. I need harsh truths. I just need to know one way or the other, even if it's hard to hear. So, no, like this sort of thing here, anxiety, playing things sort of plaguing my mind a little bit, but understanding that what I'm going through is worth it, and getting up and keep doing what I'm doing is worth it. And then things coming to light for me, things starting to make sense, things being illuminated, and I'm pretty happy with that card there. All right, so the next position is how can I work with this energy? So how can I work with this energy? Starting off with some anxiety, but really wanting to persevere, and things really starting to make sense now. So how can I work with this energy? All right, I am a little low on this thing here. All right, so we have the Four of Pentacles. Fascinating. So keeping things... I think things need to be internal right now, and I'm just moving things up a little bit, which makes sense for Pisces. It's a very internal card. It's working things out internally. And so that makes sense for Pisces. Now, a lot of times when I do deity readings, the Four of Pentacles for me is my signal from my deities, my guides, things like that, whatever reading I'm doing, I keep private. However, this is not a reading that I'm doing with my deities, though there is a card talking about message from my guides. But again, I'm not calling on any specific deity, so I will indeed be posting this. And but in general, like the readings that I do with deities, I don't usually share those on social media if the Four of Pentacles comes up, because that's my signal from my guides, from my deities, that this is a private reading just for me. So yeah, we have the Four of Pentacles here, which of course, like I said, I'm not doing this with any specific deity, so whatever. But the Four of Pentacles, we can think of it as like, on a more shadow side is a greediness or a stinginess, something like that. But in the context of this situation, it's more of just an internal thing, working things out personally, and not dragging other people into this right now. And that makes sense. That makes sense to me. So right now is a time for me to really work on this internally and for myself. And of course, I will be sharing this, but that's okay. All right, so Speaking of guides and all of that, what is a message from my guides? And I'm not calling on any specific guide right now. And the last card is going to be from ancestors. So my guides that are not ancestors, basically. And what is a message from them? All right, Ace of Cups. Allowing myself to cry, allowing myself to let out my emotions. And honestly, this really makes sense to me. And this reading has become very personal for me, as you can see. But, I'm hoping that it also resonates with someone else out there, and that it can help you too, possibly. But yesterday for me was a very emotional day, and I couldn't quite pinpoint why. It was just, you have those days sometimes where you can't quite say why, but you just kind of want to cry. And I had one of those days yesterday where just every little thing was just kind of causing me to tear up a little bit. And and I had a moment. I was looking at social media, it was Instagram, and I came across a scene from The Office, the TV show The Office, and the US version. And I don't know if you guys have seen that movie, or not movie, but that show. But my all-time favorite scene from The Office is when Pam has her art show. And I really connected to this because I'm an artist too. And she has her art show, and a lot of the people from the office either don't show up, or the few people who do are kind of jerks, because like Oscar and his boyfriend were there, and they were kind of gossiping about Pam's artwork, and she overheard, and that was really painful, something like that. And then Michael shows up. In general, he's the comic relief of the show, And Michael and Pam just have this incredibly tender moment where he is just genuinely proud of her and happy for her and supportive of her, and even wants to buy one of her artwork pieces. And I think that scene had always sort of transported me back to the first time someone bought my artwork. And it felt the same way. And I must have rewatched that little clip from that I came across on Instagram. I must have watched that probably 15 times yesterday. I even put it in my story because and every time it caused me to tear up. And the Ace of Cups for me is a card of releasing emotion, of just letting things come out, letting emotion flow. And sorry about the dog if you can hear her. Someone is walking by and she's got to bark at them. But yeah, and so the message from my guides are just saying, embrace that feeling. If I have moments like that where I just need to let out some physical emotions, I just need to let out those tears. That's what I need to do. And that's what I need to persevere. And I like that it's right underneath that Nine of Wands. Really persevering. All right, so I spent a long time on that card. The final one. What advice do my ancestors have? All right, my ancestors. All right. 10 of Cups. Of course, my ancestors would say the 10 of Cups, which is all about, happy home, happy family. Really embracing the happiness of life. And that connection is really nice here. And it does feel very Pisces to me that, and I mean, we see fish everywhere here, and this is why I picked out the Shadowscapes for my Pisces deck. The 10 of Cups, really immersing myself in the love and support of my family and those around me that have really shown their support for me. And that feeling that I had yesterday that I kept reliving from that scene, that's the feeling that that I really need to remember and embrace that. So yeah, I think this was a very nice reading. It was very sweet, which is Pisces to me. It's I think of Pisces as being very sweet. Yeah, so I think that's it. I think that's what we got here. So hopefully this resonated with other people as well. Yeah, so I don't think there's much else for me to say. So this video should be out on the 19th. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I will see you next time. Bye!